Right, let's spend some time doing some factorization. Okay, so the question above deals with factorization. And I'm going to start with 3.2. The reason I'm going to start with that is because generally when we look at factorization, especially at grade 10 level, the first thing that we do is we look for the highest common factor. So number 2 deals with that. That's why we're going to do that first. The second one we normally do is the difference of two squares, right? We'll discuss what all of that means. The third one is normally our trinomials, right? Basic and advanced, and we'll talk about what that means as well. And then the fourth one we normally do is our grouping, right? And then this year we've added the sum and difference of cubes. Okay, so make sure you're comfortable with all of these methods of factorization, especially these, or maybe even just these three. You will be seeing them as long as you are going to be doing math, so make sure you get very comfortable with those. Okay, so the first one that we're going to deal with is going to be the highest common factor. Okay, so we know what factors are. Factors are, we look at this, we look at which numbers can go into that 6, for example. Okay, so what are the factors of 6? 1 and 6, 2 and 3. So all of these numbers over here are the factors of 6. What are the factors of 18? 18, so that's 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, 4, no, 5, no, 6. Yeah, we already have 6, so we've got all of them. So these are the factors of 6. So what we're looking for is we're looking for the, let's start with common. Which ones are common? 1's always common, 2 is also common, 3 is common, and 6 is common. All right, common, that means it's both places. And now we're looking for the highest, so the biggest one that's common, so that is our 6. All right, so when we look at let's get rid of all of that. When we're looking at 3.2, we're looking for the highest common factor, and we now notice that the 6 goes into both of them. However, there's an x in both of those as well. So let's just take a second to look at those. This first term here has an x squared, so there is a x times the x, that's what x squared is, and the second term over there has an x. So the highest common factor between those is the x, because that appears in both of them. Great. Okay, so our highest common factor is not only the 6 is a common factor, but the x as well. Okay, so 6x, that's our highest common factor. Once you've got that factor, we open a bracket. Now what goes into our bracket? So we generally skip this step, but I'm going to write it for us now. We had a 6x squared, right? And we had the minus 18x. So when we take out the common factor, it's important that we understand that we're dividing each term with that factor. So each of these are going to divide with that 6x, which is our common factor. Right, so 6x is the common factor that gets written first. Open a bracket. 6 divides by itself. It looks like it disappears. The one of those x's cancels with that one. So you are left with only a x. Our negative is still in the middle. 6 goes into itself 1. 6 goes into 18 thrice. X's cancel. So you are left with your 3. And that is our highest common factor. Let's talk through this again quickly. So we looked for a factor, a value that went into both of these terms, right? It was our 6x. And then we wrote our common factor in front. We opened a bracket. Then we divided each term with that factor. So 6x squared divided with 6x left us with our x. And our negative 18x divided with the 6x left us with the minus 3. Okay, so that is the highest common factor.